welcome to your messages for the week. Today is Monday, the 17th of March, 2025. And first of all, 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day. So I'd like to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day, of course, and especially the Irish among you. Those in Ireland or those from Ireland, those thinking about Ireland. If you haven't seen the messages for the month of March, link in the description, video in the end screen. I've noticed there is a lot of forgiveness coming up. That was one of the things in the messages for the month of March. Forgiveness has definitely been a topic, and it's on all sorts of different levels. Just when you think there's no one else to forgive or you've forgiven yourself, everything goes to a deeper level. Remember the spiral of evolution. Everything's going to a deeper level, including our forgiveness. So yeah, that's an interesting one, I think. And the other thing that I'm noticing, and probably in other people as well, yes, other versions of me, the collective nodes every 18 months change. So the previous 18 months, we were moving from Libra into Aries. Now, for this 18 months, we are collectively moving from Virgo into Pisces. So they're always opposite signs. So the South Node is in Virgo and the North Node is in Pisces. Now, if you don't know anything about the nodes or stuff like that, you can check out, I'll put a link in the description to a chat I had with my beautiful astrologer friend, Amy Bird, and the lovely Liz. We chatted to her about the importance of the nodes. And I'll put her contact details, her website also in the description in case you would like to have a natal chart reading or a present transit chart reading with her. Because it really helps me because what we're really doing is everything has qualities. It's like tarot. All the cards in tarot have qualities. Now, whether you perceive them as positive or negative depends on your perception at the time, right? And it's the same with zodiac signs and the houses and the planets. They all have energies and qualities. And so I don't like to talk too much in positive and negative, but when we go from South Node into North Node, because on your natal chart, you will also have your own personal nodal positioning so that you know what your soul has chosen to move from and into where. So very often the characteristics of the house and the sign that our south node is in, very often we feel very comfortable and we can identify readily with the characteristics and qualities of those signs and houses. But our soul wants to move towards the direction of the qualities in the North Node. So collectively, we are moving from Virgo into Pisces, which I think for me is probably a bigger deal because I have 4 planets in Virgo, including my sun. And the Virgo traits that possibly we want to soften is the word I'm going to use. And I think we can all relate to this because we all have some Virgo somewhere or these traits somewhere. Over analytical. That's not good for going with the flow, right? Critical of others, but also of ourselves. And controlling, wanting to be in control. I mean, I think that's a human trait that we need to soften. Okay, so I think it's about softening these. Of course, the positive traits of Pisces are freedom, wanting to go with the flow, spirituality, and just seeing the bigger picture, rising above, flowing, basically, like water, which is probably why we've got even more rain here in Spain. The rain in Spain falls mainly in Valencia again. But yes, the Pisces qualities of going with the flow and surrender. I want to say surrender. Surrender is a big word at the moment. And if you're caught up in control, yeah, surrender. This is where we're going, I think, as a collective. from those Virgoan traits into more flowy traits of trusting, understanding that you are the creator of your own reality, and trusting that your destiny is unfolding. That's been coming through, hasn't it? Um, and that I found myself, I did some amazing breath work the other day with the lovely Manu at the garden retreat. And I found myself, floating in my subconscious experience or whatever we were doing. Um, and I just found this affirmation of I surrender to fulfill my destiny. That was the affirmation that was coming out. I didn't think about it, obviously. My Virgo analytical mind was to one side, and I was flowing in a very Pisces manner. Um, I surrender to fulfill my destiny. That's a beautiful affirmation for those of you that like affirmations. I surrender to fulfill my destiny. Because the only thing stopping us from fulfilling our destiny, of course, is us, of course, our limiting beliefs, our thoughts, our fear, our desire to control. I mean, it's all us, right? Stopping us because everything's us, right? We are the creators. So, yeah, interesting one, I think. So yes, there's an affirmation for you. I don't think there's anything else that I need to say. Um, any messages for this week? Let's see what's coming out. We've got three cards. Let's dive straight in. They're face down. There we go. We have the King of Swords. The universe is mental. The first of the Hermetic principles, the principle of mentalism, the transformation that occurs. Now, normally, the King of Swords, of course, swords is mental processes, it's beliefs and thoughts. Um, he does represent logic. He does represent left brain. And he does represent structure, which is interesting because we're just talking about throwing all of that out. So I think what he's saying is don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's very easy to go, yeah, I'm going to stop thinking. He's coming to say, thinking, if we're thinking from a mastered perspective, because kings in tarot are top of their game and they've mastered whatever their element is. And so in the King of Swords, he's mastered his thoughts, he's mastered his beliefs. Um, so he's probably, excuse me, seen my video on how to detach from our thinking. How to detach from our thinking. I'll put a link in the description to that one. The Lessons in Awakening. If you haven't seen my Lessons in Awakening, check out the channel and scroll down until you find the whole series on Lessons in Awakening. Number 15, how to detach from our thoughts. So part of mastering our thoughts is being able to detach from them. So yeah, and he's obviously done that as the King of Swords. And it's totally transformational when we can detach from them on a number of levels. One, we realize that most of our thoughts will have an emotion attached to them because thoughts are energy and they vibrate at a certain frequency. Higher frequencies are going to feel better, lower frequencies are going to feel not so good, right? So when you have a belief, let's say, for example, that the world is not a safe place, that can make us feel quite contracted. It can make us feel quite vulnerable. It can make us feel insecure. If you have a belief that the world is a safe place, and you feel that it will then expand you with feelings of security, stability, and feeling safe, and nurtured and positive things. That beliefs have emotions attached to them, and we want thoughts and beliefs that have expansive emotions attached to them. So ones that make us feel in our highest element, in our highest power, in our highest power, because we are a vessel for the power and love of God, or the power and love of Source, the power and love of the infinite. Okay, so and we can feel into that. That expands us with that power. So he's saying mastering your thoughts is about releasing the ones that put you in a state of contraction, of course, and believing. And I want to say more than believing, actually, because I think knowing trumps believing. That's what I think. I mean, trusting is great, believing is great, but actually knowing is when you've embodied it into every cell of your being. And that's where I think we want to be with, sorry, I'm just turning down the heater. Um, and that's where we want to be with this knowing I am safe, knowing I am the creator of my own reality, knowing that the energy that I am created from is pure consciousness, pure light, pure love. Anything that is not of that love is not real, because only love is real. And it's anything that is not of that love is a human construct from my own thinking and from my own fear and from my own shadow. Wow, that's quite a deep one. Here we go. We've got the lovers card. Only love is real. They're face down. I didn't see that. Only love is real. I have to say, only love is real. I think that's got to be the title. Only love is real. The lovers card. This is great because we're making some really good relationships at the moment, whether they're lovers, sexual or not, can be, might not be, but just bonding with other members of our tribe, in our community. We are creating now from that state of love. I mean, the fact that you're watching this video means that you're in an expanded state of awareness. You're in the upper part of the map of consciousness. Should I put a link in the description to that one as well? And so love or above, love vibrating at 500, love or above. So when you are vibrating at that frequency, it's not just an emotion, love, it's a state of being. And when you are vibrating at that frequency, obviously the reality that you're creating is at that frequency, because it can't not be, right? Because everything outside of you is a vibrational match to you and your frequency, which is why loving yourself is so important. That's why loving yourself is life-changing. That's why Anita Morjani said in her book, Dying to Be Me, love yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. And so this love for yourself, and it's love for everything. It's love for the animals, the flowers, nature, Mother Earth. Just keep going with your gratitude list. Keep going with it until you realize that you're absolutely in love with the whole lot. Right. And you're also in love with all the perpetrators from the past, although you don't focus on them anymore, but you are in love with them because they gave you the lessons that you needed. They gave you the kick up the backside that you needed. They gave you the adversity that you grew from. I mean, you don't have to focus on that anymore, right? But you can just live in that state of love. And when you're in that state of love, you are going to meet other people who are in that state of love, of course, because you are vibrational matching. So there are some beautiful relationships being born at the moment, but this is really your relationship with yourself, because those relationships are born out of your relationship with yourself. Does that make sense? So loving yourself is always the first thing to do. Here's the spiritual guidance coming here. This is the Gemini card. So I'm finding that so interesting because I've said many times before, but I'm going to say it again, that by the summer, Gemini is in the summer, by the summer of 2025, some aspects of our life are going to be in a state that we cannot even fathom now with our human mind. And it's quite kind of exciting, but it's like, oh my goodness, so something's going to be happening in our life. It could be collective, it could be in our community, it could be in our personal lives, probably all three, that we can't even imagine now. Which is why I say we don't dream big enough. Just go with the flow, and just don't think about what's going on, because that's where the trust comes from. Knowing that you are the creator of your own reality, knowing that you are creating it for your own benefit. When you know that in every cell of your body, then you can create your own reality and get out of your own way and get out of controlling. Release that Virgo and controlling trait so that you can surrender and go with the flow of Pisces. Because it's trusting and knowing that it's going to take you somewhere that you can't even imagine now. It's not just somewhere better. I would always in the past say, just trust it's taking you somewhere better. Like when I had my Tower card moment in the 2022, I knew I was going somewhere that was better for me, right? But this is off the scale. This is going somewhere that you can't even imagine, right? But we have to surrender. We have to surrender. But in order to be able to surrender comfortably, we need to live in this state of love. We need to be in love or above on the map of consciousness, so that we can. That's what's giving us our confidence, because that's when we know that we are in the divine flow of things. So yeah, wow. And we've got the Four of Swords, which is resting, retreating, relaxing. There's a little bit of anxiety and stress here, but it's the kind of anxiety and stress that comes when you overdo things. I mean, this is really relevant. I can feel this with me. I overdo things sometimes, and you just need some time out. Now, I don't know about you, but since the lunar eclipse on Friday, I mean, it was on Friday, right? Or maybe on Thursday night in some places, I don't know. But the effects of it, you know, I mean, some local areas were flooded. I had to drive through them and it brought up some fear and, all sorts of things going on. And then I was absolutely so tired, like for no apparent reason. The Schumann resonance is going off the scale as well. It doesn't matter. We don't need to know the ins and outs of everything. But what we need to know is that, oh, I'm feeling really, really tired. I don't need to explain it. I'm just going to have a lazy day. That's what this card is saying. Rest, retreat, relax. It's about resting as much as you can. We are so programmed to go to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and to only have 2 days off. And then with those 2 days off, we go out socializing and probably eat and drink too much. And then we've got to fit our walk in, and then we've got to fit our hobby in, and then we've got to fit all these other things in as well. So how much time do you actually sit and breathe? Sit and do nothing. Hug a tree, barefoot on the grass, just for half an hour, you'll notice the difference. But we don't gift ourselves the time to do that. And every time we do that, we say to ourselves, why don't I do that more often? That's what this card is saying. Please do it more often, because the energies coming in at the moment are so intense, so high, that we need to integrate it into the cells of our body. And this relaxing, retreating, and rejuvenating and reflecting, this is all born out of this self-love. So it's really important. Yeah. So we need to detach from our own thinking, detach from the thoughts that are keeping us down, and go with the flow, because swords is mental processes, so they relate to the mind. Obviously we're going to use the mind in order to carry out things. We've got to drive and write and do things like this, which is fine. But what he's really saying is there's a mind in the heart. We need to think with the heart. When you follow the heart, you need to think with your heart and then activate, because I think the heart trumps the mind. I mean, in my perception, the mind is fourth dimensional and the heart is fifth dimensional. But I think the heart trumps the mind. So you follow the heart, and then when you follow the heart, obviously you've got to do some, logistics, and therefore you're going to activate your mind. But let your mind work on behalf of your heart, as opposed to letting your mind be programmed from outside influences, or be programmed from childhood or society or parental expectations or even your own expectations. Because we can't fathom a world of miracles, we naturally don't think about a world of miracles. And because we're not thinking about it, we're not creating it. So we are limiting our own manifestations all the time. I mean, that's what I think he's saying. So think with the heart and activate the mind to carry out the wishes of the heart, if that makes sense. And this surrender, the Piscean surrendering, is taking us to an expansive state of love, a greater level of love. So love is no longer an emotion or the way you feel about something or someone special. It's just a state of love whereby you are just bursting with love. Top your own resources up. That's another thing that came to me during Manu's breath work at the weekend was I just had to top myself up. I felt like I was inhaling my life force, like maximizing my life force and into every cell of my body until both sides were balanced. That was something coming up for me. But also topping yourself up so much. And then all of a sudden, I had to kind of spin around and then just hold space for everybody. Because when you are so full of your own divine life force, you can't help but want to share it. It's like it's almost intoxicating you, and you want to share it with others. And it's just your pure love that is flowing out of you. And that's when you share it with others, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You're just holding yourself and feeling this love out, radiating out from you. It's just radiating out from you, and then people will pick it up. The ripple effect. You actually don't have to do anything. I mean, if you have things to do, like me running the garden retreat, then do it, but do it from a place of overflowing love. That's what this card is saying. But even so, just be, if you're surrendering and you're in your flow, everything will just be effortless. It will be effortless and joyful and choiceless and all those wonderful things. But please remember to rest, retreat, and relax, because it's so important that we get probably more sleep than we usually have and more rest than we usually have. And the things that drain us, let's get rid of those. Television or low frequency music or any kind of like noises that are not harmonious. But any activities that are not harmonious, anything, thoughts that are not harmonious. How to detach from your thinking. There we go. Check out the description. So yeah, this is about retreating, relaxing, and resting more through this love, this newfound, deeper level of self-love, until you're overflowing and wanting to share it with everyone. So everyone and everything, just let it pour out of you. But before you let it pour out of you, you've got to make sure that you top yourself up. You can use breath work, you can use your own thinking, you can use all sorts of things. Just feel your heart open, inhale into it, love yourself, and fill that heart up until it's overflowing. If we all did that, can you imagine what the world would be like? No expectations. Pluto's in Aquarius, remember. So no, expect the unexpected. That's also obviously whatever's happening in the summer in Gemini of 2025. Expect the unexpected. Wow, exciting, exciting. But have a knowing that it's taking us to heaven on earth, taking us to the new earth that we can't fathom. Thank you for your contribution to the new earth and for getting to the end of the video. You know I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.